Hi. Thank
Hi,
you so much for having us here.
you're welcome, Ram. Thank you.
Sir, last year you have had 6 releases. And
Really?
yeah. And one was seven,
Ah.
6 roles, and one was a cameo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my
Would you
God.
say you're in your peak productivity era?
I'm really hoping so. I do feel it in my blood. It's a keen observation that you've done. I've done like 4 films in 14 years before that, but in the last 2 3 years, I do remember having done a lot more. I didn't realize I had 7 releases last year. How is that? I had
Yeah.
Dhurandhar, I had
You
De De
had
Pyar
Test.
De,
You
I
had
had Test, and
you have
then
had Kesari Chapter 2,
हाँ
Hisab Barabar, Aap
हाँ
Jaisa Koi,
आप जैसे कोई
De De Pyar De,
correct.
and of course this little film called Durandar.
Yeah, the smallest of
So
them all.
the smallest, like the little indie
That
film.
is right. Yeah, so yeah, so all these were done over a period of 3 4 years. Somehow they all released last year,
Yeah.
and I've done a few more. And so I do feel that at this point of time, I'm peaking as an actor.
How cool, right?
Yeah,
How cool.
I feel it, and so whether it is fact or not, or whether the box office reflects that or not, I feel it. So I'm feeling excited about it.
Beautiful. So before coming to GD Naidu, just want to know at this point in your career when you hit a Durandar, it's not like uh, you're being introduced to a new audience with Durandar. People already know you. They have been watching. I mean, in the north, they have been watching in your films for the past 2 decades. So what exactly does a massive success like Durandar mean to you at this point?
It's a very good question, Ram. Apart from the fact that it is being taken in by the audience in a large way, financially, it's been a big success. It's a great insight into what the audience has changed and are appreciating. What I mean by that is, had you seen Dhurandhar before the release, and had I asked, most people would have said it's too long.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
because our conditioning doesn't allow us to see the meritocracy of the film based on it, what it really is. So we're all likely to say, "Oh, why are you making it 4 hours? Nobody
Yeah,
watches films in 4 hours. It's a brutal film. Everything, right?"
doesn't make any sense on paper.
No, paper it doesn't make sense. It's a different deal. Even if the same film was shown to you 2 days before the release,
Yeah,
I can promise you,
yeah.
same thing happened with Lagan. Same thing happened with Rang De Basanti. People said, "No, not going to work. It doesn't work. There's nothing. There's no Sheila Ki Jawani and Munni Badnaam movie. There's nothing. How are you going to work with this, right?" I realized that the power of conviction is such that if you tell a story in all its glory, in the way you perceive it, without having any traps of commerciability that you think will work, the audience is way ahead of you. Now, I'll give you a small example. Something big happened called peak detailing by Aditya Dhar. Can you imagine, Ram, when you're making a project of this length, which is almost 8 hours, to actually invest time to put detailing that you know might be missed?
That's insane. It's insane
It could be
level of
missed, right? It, the
absolutely.
back, everything that is adding to the storytelling.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody was told before the film, they spent 10 crores extra only to this peak detailing, they say, "You're mad. Who sees all that? Nobody sees it. Don't be seen." I would have said it. So now, after Dhurandhar, I realized that when the intent is correct and you're insinuating something, leave alone showing, just insinuating something, people get it because they are far more advanced than we give them credit
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
So that is the takeaway from Dhurandhar for me.
No, did it reaffirm your belief or did it shake it?
Shake. Reaffirming is one thing. I think it must have reaffirmed Aditya Dhar's belief. For me, it shook me up because, no, actually, I won't say it shook me up. I think it reiterated what I've been believing for the longest time.
You needed a reminder.
I needed an endorsement
Okay.
that I'm going in the right direction.
Okay.
So with Rocketry, I had gone in that direction. With Dhurandhar, I have proved that, oh, a film like Rocketry also can be extremely commercial if told in this sort of in this kind of a manner. And so it reaffirmed my faith that our storytellers have to catch up with our audience. I think that's the biggest revelation.
Absolutely. And now, sir, you're not new to biopics. You have played characters that have been inspired by real men, be it Sham Saxena in Guru or the most recent one, Ajay Sanyal, or the one that you have directed, Nambi Narayanan's biopic. So when you're approaching these people, they are not fictitious characters, right? How different is your approach when you know you are playing a real man, or do you just see it as another dramatic character? What's the difference between a fictional character and a real person when you're approaching the craft?
the similarity is all of them have to be real. It doesn't matter if it's a fictional character or a real life character. My portrayal should be such that you can believe that such a character existed, unless, of course, I'm doing Shaitan, which is a different beast.
Yeah.
But the difference between a real life character and a fictional character in terms of an actor is that sometimes in the real life character, I'm bound by physicality and look. So, be it Nambi Narayanan, be it Mr. Rajai Sanyal or G.D. Naidu, I have a straight and narrow to follow because the look has to match. With people like Nambi Narayanan and G.D. Naidu, it was not, or even Ajit Dawal, it was not too much of an issue because people hardly knew them. So, except for Rocketry, if I was 80-70% close to them, it still would have worked because nobody knew how G.D. Naidu looked or how Mr. Dawal looks.
You have that leeway.
We have the leeway and flexibility. With Nambi Narayan, Rocketry I didn't have because I think I have said this earlier, Rocketry is the only film, I think, in the world ever where the real life character comes in the climax and takes over the story.
Transition, yeah.
Not the transition, he takes over the climax. The emotional continuum carries through with him. I don't think anybody had the guts to do that.
You said how it was very important for you, right, on a screenplay level, creating that.
Yes, and the look level. So that doesn't. So I was expecting the audience to look at it and say, "Hey, the real Nambi Narayan has come." But nobody did that. They just said, obviously, it has to be him, and the emotional continuum with big success. So that was a big limitation for me. But thankfully, look-wise, both he and I have a similarity in terms of our looks. Height, weight, and so that was it. But with G.D. Naidu, he's much leaner, thinner, different body frame. So we're taking the leap of faith that Mr. G.D. Naidu would be this. But when you look at his real videos, the mismatch would be definitely seen. More importantly, with Mr. Dawal, it was based on historical, actual scenes. Be it Kandahar or every other aspect. So, if you were to look at those pictures, you would have seen Mr. Dawal looking like that. So, it was essential for me to look as close to him as possible. But the moment the limitations of look and appearance is taken away, the challenge of making that character believable is the same, both in Sham Saxena or in Flight Lieutenant Ajay Rathod, everything. I just realized after while talking to you that Ajay Rathod also is based on a real character. Sham Saxena is also based on a real character. So somehow real characters have been part of my
They keep chasing you, I guess.
Yeah.
So now, a biography or a biopic is essentially a life story of a human being. If you take an Odyssey, it's the life story, it's the story of Odyssey that happened like some 3,000 years ago, completely culturally distant. It's a different world altogether. And if you take something like an Oppenheimer that happened like 80, 90 years ago, once again, culturally distant. But in both these films, you see that these two people, if you look at it on a primal human level, it's about two men who are guilty of the consequences of their creations. I think it's this emotional angle that makes their stories relevant to us, even though we are completely distant from them. In that sense, what do you think makes Mr. G.D. Naidu's life, what adds significance or relevance today?
Okay. So without running around too much, beating around the bush, what Mr. G.D. Naidu did multiple decades ago is what India and the world is doing now. His concept of Uber was something that he had invented with the UMS services. The things we've shown in the story that I unfortunately can't talk about right now because it's an essential part of the story, is what Mr. Bill Gates has done today. It looks like almost he would have copied him. The inventions that he had in mind, that he has done. So the thing is, in today's world, when entrepreneurship and startup and everything is becoming a core, idea for all the youth today to make unicorns, I think the story and the secret of what to do next lies in the stories of people like them. So his desire was to make the life of people around him better. One of the things is he didn't like to see his wife driven to tears because she's cutting onions. So he made an invention that could chop onions without her eyes tearing up. So those kind of small things, from there to the first electric motor, the other multiple inventions that he has done, I think there is a story for our people to realize that A, how do you invent? Second, how do you protect your invention? Third, what are the difficulties and challenges you'll face as an inventor or as somebody who wants to create a reform? He was not just an inventor. Our film is only 10% about his inventions, or even less.
The trailer, it does paint a picture.
But it's about how people try to take him down. So your challenge is not just to invent something.
Protect.
Yeah, Facebook is a classic example.
Yeah.
It's not about what you create, what your idea. You have to be smart enough to protect your business. You have to be smart enough to toe the line legally and financially and take care of the compliance. You have to make sure that you own the concept. So those things. How does a lady in Coimbatore and other parts of India making just papad and achar earn 60, 70 lakhs a month? They also know how to secure their business, right? So it's not merely smart enough to have an idea. And these people's stories are a great insight.
Beautiful. And you just said in a previous interview that you did take your share of liberties while making this film. So I want to know, where does that liberty start and where does that end? And is it okay to trade accuracy for storytelling?
The liberties we took are only optical.
Okay. Can you define that?
Now look.
Oh, just that?
Yeah, optically, if you
Okay,
look at
okay.
him, Mr. G.D. Naidu was a thin, frail man,
Okay.
balded at the age of 35. So I couldn't do that because then the
Okay.
whole story, because we're going back and forth in terms of shoot. Optically, we have done that. Now, you must understand that like all biopics that are shot anywhere in the world, even from Hollywood, we're trying to encompass a 60, 70-year lifespan in 2 years. So there are times when time and space and characters are compressed or combined. Those liberties we have to take. But we can't take liberties from the core story by itself.
Absolutely.
There is a line in our film which says that if the story of the hunt is told by the lion instead of the hunter, the bravery, if a lion writes a story about what is brave, you will never think the human is brave. Unless it's a head-to-head confrontation, which is never is.
Absolutely.
So similarly with him, the liberties we have taken, like I said, is more optics, combining days and times to compress it so that you get the idea of what he went through.
The gist.
Yeah, instead of, there is a difference between a documentary and a biopic. So it's a cinema and it's a biopic. So those liberties, I think.
So you have been exploring the long format storytelling for many years now since Breathe. So
I
since
started it in OTT.
Yeah, Breathe. I remember watching Breathe back when it came
So I
in
think,
2018.
16 or 17.
Yeah, and it was disturbing as hell actually.
Yeah.
It was a very sad, grim, unpleasant show.
Yeah.
But the point is, you have been exploring long format for many years now, and since you have a lot of material here, it's the life story of a person. Why did you think? Don't you think that would have done maybe a longer film would have done justice instead of compressing it into feature length?
Ram, it's a very good question. When I hear a story or a concept, the first thing I do as an actor is to see which format is this likely to have the most impact in. If I take rocketry and make a web series out of it, it's not going to work because I don't have that many cliffhangers.
Yeah.
Okay. If I take Breathe and make it out of a movie, it will be the most discontinuous movie because I need for Railwaymen, for instance, I need that much time to tell the story. You need to feel the suffocation and the tragedy that is about to unfold. So the format that I choose to tell the story in is extremely important. And it's a very nice question. So that is the first thing I determine when I hear a story, whether this is right for the large screen. So there are 5 formats. One is the television, one is OTT, one is a movie on the OTT, one is a long format on the OTT, and then there is cinema.
Yeah.
So when I hear a concept that a director has, I need to decide whether it's an OTT movie or whether it glorifies being on the large screen. The requirement for the large screen is much different from a movie requirement for the OTT. The language changes. Most people think it's the same format, I'll keep the camera where I want to. It's not true. What I can get on a long wide shot in cinema and make you feel, I cannot get that on the small screen. No matter how beautiful the thing is and how long I hold. So my first job is to make sure that that format is correct. So this story does not render itself to this long format simply because I don't have that much of twists and turns every half an hour in terms of holding a cliffhanger. I would have to lie a lot. That's the reason.
Okay.
So then I would have to create artificial cliffhangers. Whereas here, when the story starts when he's old. And so you have to remember what happened to him at that age. And you can remember that for 2 hours, but you cannot remember that for over a period of 8 hours. The impact goes.
Right.
This is the whole idea, yeah.
And when you have a film of this scale, how do you entrust the responsibility with Krishna Kumar? He's obviously a very successful ad filmmaker. He has done Modern Love Chennai and obviously Oho and Then Baby, but tonally it's very different, right? So how do you trust him with this?
So whenever I agree to do a movie, whatever they have done before has never played any relevance. Never. Because if that was true, then all successful filmmakers should make all successful films.
Yeah. Yeah.
The power of an idea whose time has come is so powerful that it doesn't matter what the history of the person executing it is. They have to earn my respect. So just because you have an extraordinary director who's done great films, if I have done that in my life, where I've heard these stories from super successful directors and I had to bow out humbly simply because I couldn't relate to the story. Okay, and sometimes they've gone on to become successes, and the other times they become disasters. So I have no qualms about that. Krishna earned my respect. He earned my respect.
How?
So when he told me the story, I was trying to patch it, and he said, "No, sir, let me tell you, I'm not really good at this. I'll make a podcast." So he made a podcast of the entire movie with the background score, the sound effects. He said the dialogue of every character, and he gave me a 2 hour, 10-minute film. I was able to see exactly what his vision was, where the drawbacks were, what the cost of the film is going to be like, how long it's going to be able to shoot, how long each scene is. And so when you have that vision, then it becomes very easy to say yes or no and get inspired by it. He won my respect and my complete admiration because of that podcast. And in fact, during the shoot, he forgot what he had said on the podcast. I would remind him, and he will say, "Yeah, sorry." So it is, once I heard that, then I know that we cannot go too wrong. Whether the film becomes a hit or a flop or average is not in our hands, no matter who I am and what I have done before. People are not going to come and say, "Hey, sorry, it's okay, you did a great film. Now I'll still pay you money because you did a bad film." It's never going to happen. I have to re-earn their respect. So when that is an anomaly, then why worry about historical and statistical achievements of somebody who's coming and telling a story? This is enough for me.
And they keep fluctuating anyway. So, sir, my final question, since we are talking about biopics, how would your biopic be? Are you interested to watch your biopic?
Ram, important question, but something that I don't want to think about or talk about either. I think it's too much emphasis is placed on legacy and what people will think after I'm gone. I want to make sure that I suck the marrow out of every second of my life that I'm living right now. I want to make sure that people around me are happy. I am able to contribute positively in their lives because that is important to me while I'm alive. What they say about me when I'm dead is a problem of my relatives when they have to face it. It's not my problem.
You're actually the second person to give a similar answer. Mr. Jagapati Babu, he said something very similar to me. Yeah, something. I asked him, how would you want posterity to remember you? And he's like, I don't give a damn about what people are going to talk about me after. You think that's a narcissistic thought?
No, actually it's the most practical part, no?
I mean, having a biopic, having people...
This man died. Let's take his example. You think he cared about what history wrote about him? We are writing it now. If he lived his life thinking what will history write about him, he won't achieve half the stuff that he's done. That's so for me, thinking about it is acting narcissistic. Oh, what will people? Who are you? The greats have been forgotten, yeah. So what are we putting so much emphasis on? I think the most important thing is live happily, spread that happiness around people, make sure that there is joy around you. And if you derive joy by being vindicative and evil, then it's your problem. But it's not a easy thing being a relative or a friend of a celebrity also. You become under as much scrutiny. I feel sorry sometimes and apologetic to my relatives because no matter what is being said about me in public, it reflects on them also. And they have to go sometimes apologize or feel proud on my behalf. One of that, right? So it's a game that I have to play anyways. So I don't worry about legacy.
So beautiful. I think that's a great note to end the interview, and also we're running out of time. Would have loved to have more time to pick your brain, but thank you so much, sir. I love this interaction.
Pleasure. Thanks, Ram. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.